This time on Video Game Tango, Bobby Kotick is still fucking around and still finding out. Activision Blizzard is fighting unionization and making a new IP in the form of a survival game. Apex Legends gets more content later in the week, and Call of Duty will remain on the PlayStation, but for how long? After the break, it's all about Respawn's new upcoming Star Wars games, what we've been playing and why, new stuff coming for Stellaris, and some good old-fashioned banter.
Nick here with a warning. If you date Josh, he's going to assume you Swiffer your feet.
Hi, I'm Josh, and much like a lightsaber, to turn me on, you have to use force.
My name's Russ, and fuck Disney for giving us a Scut Farkus Jedi and the Power Rangers fucking Boba Fett squad.
Now it's time for Josh to use his Glizzy Gripper. I'm Andy. Welcome to Video Game Tango.
Scut Farkus. It's up there with Evan Kelp.
Kelp.
Guess what? It's time for more Activision Blizzard news.
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's another week,
another
right?
week. Yeah, another week.
It's been a whole 7 days since we talked about it last, so it's time for more. So we do have a little bit of Activision Blizzard news. Bobby Kotick was recently in an interview with GamesBeat, and he started talking about why now? Why do the acquisition right now? And obviously, I mean, there's some things we can assume. Activision Blizzard's in trouble.
Your
shares are
company
down
is
at their
dying.
lowest. Yeah, right. Well, you know,
That's the only reason. That's
Yeah.
not an argument.
Yeah.
This whole thing wouldn't even been put on tabled if it wasn't for the fact that the sexual harassment shit and lawsuits are going on.
yeah. But from the rapey horse's mouth, he says, we were looking over the course of the next couple of years and starting to realize that we need thousands of people to be able to execute against our production plans. We need them in disciplines like AI and machine learning, or in data analytics, or in purpose-built cloud and cybersecurity, and that we just don't have that. And that competition for that talent is expensive and really hard to come by. So, you know, talking about leveraging,
A lot of buzzwords.
it sure is.
Yeah.
But that is as candid as Bobby Kotick gets.
Look,
Like,
our cloud, I'm going to be honest, pretty light. It hasn't rained in months. Like, we need more AI clouds, neural rain, and some analytical water.
Yeah.
Yeah, double
Yeah.
analytical water.
If I can get 2 waters straight from a neural net,
We need some crypto RTX programmers to come in and reticulate all of the splines.
yeah. Our
NFT
graphics
pluses.
energy is low.
I mean, it's so stupid. Like, okay, first of all, it's harder for you to hire people specifically because of what's going on with your company.
Yep.
And you're the reason for this. And it's expensive. Well, even if obviously tech specialists are going to be expensive, but your company's worth fucking billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, even when you're taking this huge, massive slump and you're still getting paid 60 some odd billion dollars to be bought out.
We can't
After a
leverage
massive pay
the
cut.
quote unquote Blizzard tax anymore. People won't come just work for us because we're Blizzard.
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted to hire people to come do those things for your company, you would just do it. So he can make up all the dumb shit fucking reasons he wants, but we know.
Yeah, but he's still just kind of a piece of shit that's driving a company into the ground. So
Yeah. I mean, and we have quite a long time to wait before a potential release from his reign.
Would you call him a horse fondler?
Rapey horse or
Rapey
something.
horse.
Yeah, the
From
rapey horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fucking, don't get near that
this
horse.
is,
He'll fucking mouth rape you.
Nay.
He was never gonna leave the company otherwise, right? So this is the last time that it's gonna be worth this much, because the next thing's gonna hit, and then the next thing's gonna hit. I doubt we're gonna hear the end of crappy Activision Blizzard news.
I mean, potentially.
Potentially.
Well,
you know,
well,
they're gonna
not that. So
shake out a few last things, I'm sure, but
you have to remember that a company's evaluation is set by the shareholders. And when stock prices were on the rebound during the acquisition, it's hard to say that the company was failing, right? Like, it's having internal struggles. We are privy to this news because we cover it. But for the average World of Warcraft player, Diablo or Overwatch player, they don't care, right?
Yeah.
So it was all fine. Once the headlines were starting to slow down, you see the stock prices jump back up. Once you got another dump of headlines, they'd go down. I mean, you were seeing a little bit of a waiver, but all in all, things were looking like fucking clockwork for Activision Blizzard. They were just waiting for all the hubbub to dull down. So
I'm sure Kotick and his retinue of horses are going to make out like bank.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Oh,
they
yeah.
will.
Oh,
And
yeah. No.
I've actually read that surprisingly they could. There's a means for which they could remove his golden parachute from the
Yeah.
company, and it's like but they're not going to. That was the consensus from like the article I was reading, is that it would be put up, like it would be tabled by shareholders to remove his golden parachute, but then it has to be like passed by the fucking council or whatever the fuck.
The
manages
Council
that
of
shit.
Elders.
And then like they would never do it. They just
No.
Golden parachute for the audience, meaning a severance package, bunch of free stuff for leaving the company.
And he's got a big one.
Here's more money for leaving.
Yeah. Here's $300 billion or $3 billion. I keep saying 300 because, when we're talking Activision Blizzard and Microsoft, that doesn't seem like an astronomical number anymore.
Yowza. It's a lot of money.
Related is the Raven software stuff.
Yeah,
You wanna
so
touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Raven Software. A majority of their QA testers were able to unionize. Fantastic. That's kind of what, at least we were hoping.
Under CWA, Communications Workers of America.
Yeah, and that's the union that they created, right? However, Activision Blizzard has chosen to not recognize them as workers because they'd been previously let go, or they missed the deadline. So the 25th is when they were supposed to be starting negotiations. They declined to start the negotiations, and yeah, it looks like unless Activision Blizzard starts taking them really seriously soon, which I doubt because they've said that they're not going to. They're going to be going to the NLRB or the National Labor Relations Board.
Essentially force their hand and make them recognize it.
Force their hand, and then they'll start discussing, because it's a union, they're going to be taking votes on whether these workers are going to be returning and under what conditions. So the teams at Activision Blizzard for this are going to meet with the leadership of the union for that. And I wish them the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yeah. So specifically when they recognized the union, they said, at Activision Blizzard, we deeply respect the rights of all employees to make their own decisions about whether or not to join a union. We carefully reviewed and considered the CWA initial request last week and tried to find a mutually acceptable solution with the CWA that would have led to an expedited election process. Unfortunately, the parties could not reach an agreement. So what that says to me is they wanted too much. We don't want to give them that. So no.
So our offer is for you to not unionize.
Yeah.
And if you don't accept that, then I'm sorry. And on top of that, they were saying that citing quote unquote best practices, they've restructured the Raven Software QA members to be spread throughout the different departments, which, okay, whatever. And then CWA is like, no, that's just an attempt to split them up. So they can't fucking effectively unionize.
Yep.
They're trying their best to keep it from happening.
100%. Which, you expect from Activision Blizzard at this point.
I guess. I mean, it's just...
Fight tooth and nail.
Yep.
Okay, so just for people listening, our television has now twice tried to load up YouTube just randomly. No one has touched the controller. I have a theory.
Oh.
I have given, a while ago, I gave John, our old guy neighbor, access to the Wi-Fi.
Oh.
I'm wondering if he's trying to watch YouTube.
He's trying to cast something.
And he thinks the TV is whatever device, maybe his TV that he casts to.
Probably, yeah.
Do you have his phone number?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we might just watch, if it loads up again.
We might see what he's going to watch.
That could be some fun.
Just let it happen. I don't need to see
A
myself.
little mini adventure there.
TikTok thought compilation.
Honestly, when they come out and say, we respect everyone's right to join a union, and then at the end of all of that say but we're not respecting their right to join a union.
Yeah.
Honestly, that makes me angrier than if they just come out and said what they actually meant, which is fuck you.
But they won't. That'd be a PR nightmare. At this point, they're
speak. They got to do it. Cover their butts.
100%. Yeah, it's such fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's critical thinking, right? You look at this article and you just translate to the bullshit that they said into, no, fuck you. We're not going to do that.
100%.
So in an effort to save their company, a new hope, if you will, Blizzard's announced a new game. Cats the Musical, the video game. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Needs more boobs.
Yeah.
Doesn't have enough
More starfish.
What did they? It's like you got pulled up there. Survival. Is that the only keyword they gave?
So yeah. So right now I have their hiring page up, okay. So they announced an unannounced survival game that
the
they're
title?
creating.
I hope it releases under that title.
There is no title.
Unannounced
And
survival
honestly, I
game.
hope that's actually kind of cool. I mean, like player unknown. That guy's cool. So yeah. Anyways, there are job listings. They're looking for artists, not really key developers or anything like that. So as far as what they're looking for, it's environment artist, senior character artist, technical artist, VFX artist, senior character concept artist, associate level designer, and then some engineers
Boom
for
operator
software
number
engineers.
3. Yeah.
So it is. I mean, it's cool, right? We're looking at potentially a new IP from Blizzard.
Anytime there's a new IP announced, I mean, I get excited. We live in the age of having things regurgitated and retrofitted and remastered and fed back to us. So anytime something new comes out, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it earlier, but for all the listeners, I was legitimately upset at how frustrated I was at the announcement of a new Blizzard IP, given that 10, 15 years ago, I think I said I would have shit my dad.
Yes, that
Whether
is your
that means
quote.
I actually defecate my entire father or he shits for me. Like, I'm just pissed. I'm pissed that I can't be excited about it. Now, with Microsoft acquiring them, I imagine they're going to have a huge hand in that and oversight, given that this is still off the ground. If they're hiring level artists and VFX artists, that shows that they've done some work.
Yeah.
There's got to be something probably playable there right now.
Yeah.
But, hopefully we'll see. And this ties back into last week. You said me giving my opinions of it. In a nutshell, it's too soon to say anything.
For sure.
Bunch of chickens with their heads cut off because this is a really big acquisition. It's not a monopoly, but it's also not something to ignore. We're just going to see a lot of. I don't think anybody really knows where this is going to go.
No,
until
nobody
year two
knows.
passes.
I wait with bated breath. So I mean, obviously, like the way I kind of speak about it, I feel like I've been really showing Xbox, Phil Spencer, Microsoft to be kind of the good guys lately. And yes, they definitely seem to be going in a good direction, but they are a business, and they definitely have shown their spades a few times in that they've had constant pressure from the U.S. government for creating monopolies. A lot of their acquisitions have been denied in the past because it would have created a potential monopoly in a space, and honestly, at this point, we are almost looking at a duopoly. If we're not going to include Nintendo here, we're looking at a duopoly as far as gaming and content goes, especially in the console market. And it raises questions, right? Like you can look at this with rose-colored glasses and say Phil Spencer really wants to see cross-platform happen amongst all the consoles. But we also have to remember that they have a monetary incentive to do so in the form of Game Pass, right? So, the TV's going to YouTube. So with Game Pass, if you start, if their idea of cross-platform utilization or cross-platform gaming between like Sony and Microsoft is getting Game Pass on the PlayStation, then we're going to see what would have initially been, PlayStation exclusives, PlayStation, those might go by the wayside. The PlayStation 5 might be the best Xbox someday, if you think about it that way, right? Like if we see a Game Pass on the PlayStation, why would you ever buy an Xbox Series X or Series 9 or whatever the fuck is coming next when you can play it all on PlayStation?
I don't know. I mean, they're still making a couple of games Xbox exclusive. So I mean,
well, and that brings up my next point: is are we going to start seeing some of these games that have already been cross-platform, like Call of Duty, as exclusives?
Didn't they announce?
They specifically came out and said that Call of Duty would be still cross-platform.
They have, yes, but that's been elaborated on.
They said
The next
article
three.
I read said for now. For now was definitely
That's like you're covering your ass, right? Like it's always going to have some nebulous time frame.
mean,
They're not going to say like for the next 4 years because they don't want to be held
Right.
yeah.
to anything.
But if you think about it, this could be the Call of Duty games that are already in progress, that are already slated and already have contracts drawn up to be
they're gonna
cross-platform,
finish
right?
What they do.
Yeah.
Games like this, they start way before us pros know about them. If you've worked in any business that deals with releases on schedules and whatnot, you know that like 70% of the work is done prior to the public knowing about it. So I'm sure they have a bunch of stuff lined up that's going to happen. But like you said, 3 games or whatever it was they said.
Yeah, they've committed to releasing the next 3 entries in the Call of Duty series on PlayStation following its buyout by Microsoft.
We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, time will tell, right? But like there are some. I mean, if you're going to think of, like as far as business strategy goes, it would behoove them to keep Call of Duty on their own platform.
They're going to do whatever makes them the most money.
Yeah.
Or what they think will. Right? That's what companies do.
And what we're looking at is, I mean, games as a service, there's a reason that everybody's pushing for games as a service. It's more lucrative.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, is that going to win out against digital and physical sales of a game?
If people
Maybe.
keep voting that way with their wallet.
Yep. So and it's trending that way. Mm-hmm. So it may be very possible that we're only going to be seeing Call of Duty on Game Pass.
I still maintain, we had this discussion with Colin the other night. I don't see that happening simply for I look at it is that you have an established revenue stream by having it on the PlayStation from specifically PlayStation owners.
Yeah.
You know that X amount of money typically comes in from people buying physical copies of that. To deny yourself that guaranteed count on income for the potential to drive people to your platform in the hopes that they are going to sign up for the Game Pass it seems unlikely to me, especially considering you're giving away a $60 physical copy of a game to PlayStation owners to try to get a $15 a month subscription from people to play your Game Pass. I would be inclined to believe from a company standpoint that it doesn't hurt them at all to just keep releasing on the PlayStation platform. Rather than risk it and try to push them to the Game Pass.
I don't know, man. Microsoft has 2 bites at that apple. I mean, because they dominate the PC gaming market as well. So
if Microsoft wanted to take a risk in the gaming market, they could just keep acquiring IPs. They have fuck you money to every other company that is a competitor to them.
Yeah.
This 60 some odd $1 billion acquisition is just
nothing.
It's just showing you that we
change.
could do this. And
literally nobody else could afford to buy Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Something to point out, according to this article, 2021, Call of Duty Vanguard sold on PlayStation. PS5 accounted for 41% of sales. Mm-hmm. PS4 was 29, leaving Xbox One at 19 and the Series X at 11.
Yeah.
So if that's anywhere similar, then the PlayStation has the majority share of.
They do, and they because they won the last
Duty.
console life cycle, and they're selling 2-1 against the Xbox.
You know what
Series
I'd
X
see
right
to
now.
be more likely to happen instead of them canceling out the PlayStation revenue stream altogether, is that you're going to get a day one Call of Duty launch on the Xbox and the Game Pass, and then you're going to have to wait. A month is a bit extreme, even a week before you can buy a physical copy or a digital copy on the PlayStation. That seems like something they'd be willing to do because then you're potentially going to get pushover from people that don't want to wait a week so they could play day one on the Xbox and still leave a revenue stream open for digital physical copies on the PlayStation.
That being said, I'll go back to our conversation with Colin the other night. He did bring up a point that they do plan on having a really cheap, accessible Amazon Fire Stick style game console sold by Microsoft. So something that's literally like a USB, powered by USB, plugs into your TV in an HDMI port, and acts just like a Fire Stick, and it's going to be using Microsoft's xCloud service. So you'll have to have Game Pass Ultimate, which is $20 a month. It'll be able to stream games.
Yeah.
So
who's that? Who's the market for that?
People that can't afford a game console.
Yeah. If you can drop Roku money on a game console, that's what parents are going to do for
If
their kids.
if you can buy the newest Call of Duty on something that costs you, let's say it's $60. It's a loss leader, right? It's similar to because it doesn't have to be more powerful than a Fire Stick, right? Mm-hmm. All it's got to be able to do is render 1080p 4K video. Relatively simple. That can be done on little ePCs, and that's done on your phone. Which, I guess that's not a apples to apples comparison, but the Fire Stick TV can do 4K. So if it can render 4K and you can stream the game live, why would you purchase? Except for us, right?
Go hard in the paint into cloud gaming.
Adult gamers are not going to buy that.
Adult gamers don't make up the majority share of gamers.
Right. There's more to my statement than what I'm starting with. I'm eliminating audiences for the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
So adult gamers are out. They're not going to be buying that. And I conclude pretty much anybody that's like above the age of 18. And parents, the only parents that I could see that would be purchasing for that for their children are going to be like for their kids that are younger than the age of 12 that want to play games and stuff, and the parent doesn't want to buy them like a $300 or $500 console and stuff. But
I don't think the kid's age is relevant. I think that if you're a parent and you can get them to play the game they want to play, they heard about at school for $60 as opposed to buying a $400 console, that's what they're going to do. Right. It depends on how well they can implement it. You know, the cloud gaming we've seen from Stadia and the other ones have been choppy at best.
Yeah.
So
the tech's improved. Like even Gamers Nexus did a revisit on Stadia before they started closing servers and dropping game companies, and it was relatively playable.
Yeah.
I mean, and not even relatively. It was totally playable. You still wouldn't want to do competitive shooter like something like a Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
But everything else was totally. I mean, they played Rocket League for hours on that thing. It worked very well. Yeah. So you know, it's hard to tell because we are moving into a fairly new space, right? But that kind of technology seems like honestly the best way to leverage it, and the best way to get your games as a service in somebody's household. And especially if it's going to be for a trivial amount of money compared to the cost of a console, those things are going to sell like fucking crazy.
Yeah, we'll see if they do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I work at a big box retailer, and our Amazon Fire Sticks, first thing to go, they get a $10 off sale. They're gone the moment those things go on sale. They sell like fucking crazy, and those are loss leaders. Like it costs more for Amazon to produce them than they sell them for, but it gets them in the ecosystem.
You know, it would like probably destroy any Fire Stick market for that kind of stuff. Functional smart TVs. Like,
yes.
Put more than a fucking half of a potato chip inside the fucking TVs that you're selling, and people wouldn't have to go get a Fire Stick to be able to stream their content.
Well, I mean, we might see that. Like, we might see TVs that are.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, they might literally have TVs that are branded like Xbox Game Pass compatible. You know what I mean?
We bought a $400+ big screen TV for the bedroom, the smart TV. And I bought a smart TV specifically because Sharon needed to be able to watch Netflix in the room, and we didn't have a device to connect to it. Because otherwise, I would not be buying a smart TV.
Yeah.
That piece of shit would have problems to where, like, if you just you don't have to run a bunch of different programs. You could just, if you loaded Netflix and then watched Netflix for X amount of time, it just eats whatever half megabyte of internal cache memory that it has, and it would slow down so poorly to the point that, like, turning the volume up and down was a fucking struggle bus trip for that fucking television. And like I got to the point to where, like, they have an option in the menu
that doesn't seem very smart.
No. It's like helmet wearing smart, you know? You could go down to the fucking menu to try to clear the cache and stuff, and that, if you could get there, because it was struggling the entire time. And then I had to find out that sometimes I'd have to unplug the television from the wall because it would not shut down.
Yeah.
And I come to find out later that even if I'd gotten the TV to shut off, that's not turning the television off and clearing out any of those memories. You have to long press the power button and tell the TV to shut down. And all of that, all those problems that made me fucking hate that TV were solved by a Fire Stick. A device that's literally this fucking big, cost me $20, and I plugged it in, and that TV has never ran better because I never have to touch that garbage fucking operating system that is on there.
Yep.
And, like, I get that their televisions are all about cutting corners and pushing out cheap product, but even if it's a loss leader, like a $20 stick, like, I mean,
and even if they're buying it wholesale as a part of the construction, it's not even gonna be $20.
Yeah,
right. You know?
I guarantee you, it does not take much to run a functional interface on a TV. And yet, almost every smart TV I've ever encountered, and I can say at least it's a dozen different TVs, different models, different years, all of them trash.
And $80 phones do it.
Yeah.
You go and buy a Samsung J8. It's not super snappy like our phones are today, but it's absolutely 100% functional.
And here's the brilliant thing. TV makers, if you're listening, you put out a quote unquote Roku Fire Stick-esque smart TV, and then 6 months in, people start having problems. Just be like, oh, I'm sorry, you need to get our newest model. We have updated stuff, right? Like, you can keep selling people the same TVs year after year like you do already, but this time they actually do shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, fucking advertise that. Like,
Yeah.
use your advertising budget to be like, hey, every other TV, and you're like, it sucks. Try using your remote. Good luck.
This is
You can literally show them like people struggling with their crappy TV interfaces, and then show how snappy and fast yours is.
I don't
It's like
have
the
a smart
fucking infomercial trying to open the juice.
Your TV dumb as shit. I don't have a smart TV, but it's the only time this is going to be related. I'm mention it. My TV has this feature. It's a Sony TV where if it detects too much ambient light, it dims the screen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which in turn by proxy means that if my screen isn't putting out a lot of light,
Yeah.
it dims the screen.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing video games, if the screen goes black, like I'm playing Diablo or this game I was playing where I'm doing Z levels looking underground, I kept having to open the fucking inventory menu to get the screen to light up and try to look up like solutions. You know, I found some solutions for a different make or model of the same make of TV. And when I finally found mine after like 2 days of looking, they're like, oh yeah, there's no way to turn that off.
That's fucking dumb.
Honestly, I've encountered that shit too on TVs. Like just literally trying to find out how to actually shut down that TV.
God.
Like took me a ludicrous amount of effort to
Yeah.
actually do. Like it's not intuitive.
I try to go straight to find the PDF of the user manual because sometimes you get lucky, but that's not even a for sure thing anymore.
Sure. I mean, half the time a TV user manual just shows you a picture of the TV. It's like, that's the manual.
Yeah, in 14 languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that TV that we had didn't even have buttons. Like I'm almost
That's
positive
the
it had
worst.
0 buttons.
Yeah.
I spent multiple times like feeling along the edge of the bevel. Like, oh, the fuck, there's got to be a power button on here somewhere.
Man, chat's lighting up with a fucking smart TV hate. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Dude,
put
feel
fucking
the
buttons
fire.
on it,
Yeah.
bro. That would be smart. Just
Speaking
put
of another
buttons
thing,
on it.
I'm irritated that they dealing with TVs is the elimination of IR blasters from cell phones.
Yes.
Like that had to have been like a 10-cent fucking add-on to put
Yep.
onto a phone. And I remember like it's like my Samsung Note 3. So it's
Oh,
like
yeah, you
that's
could
like
use it as a
decade of-
remote.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just program it for a TV and use it as a remote.
Yep.
That was genius.
It's dope.
And then like the next year they were like, nah, that cost us 10 cents to do that. Fuck you.
Yep.
Oh, there was a small pleasure you were enjoying?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Speaking of small pleasures, if you own a PlayStation, next month, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep will be available for free on their online now service.
Boy, that's a pleasure.
So
That was
if you
a
haven't,
blast.
if you haven't played it, play it.
Play it in anticipation of the new Borderlands.
And segueing from that, all the PlayStation fanboys were like slathering at the jaws for news from PlayStation now that Microsoft has bought Blizzard Activision. There wasn't anything immediate, but the conspiracies run deep. There's some signs that they might be allowing for backwards compatibility going all the way back to the PS1 and PSP on the PS5. A couple signs. They had a glitch momentarily where they were showing a bunch of PS3 trophies. They filed patents for backwards compatibility, and they're planning on overhauling and quote-unquote beefing up their PS Now service. So if you have a PlayStation, you might soon have the opportunity to play a lot of really cool old games.
Yeah, which is the way it should be.
I like how you can patent backwards compatibility. Like,
Yeah, I guess maybe I would assume it's specifically for PlayStation backwards compatibility, I would hope. But yeah. Other than that, I learned something new. There's a pretty trusted reseller of CD keys called Fanatical. Excuse me. That has a bunch of like 1,000 PC games on sale right now. Elden Ring's $50, Cuphead's $15, God of War's $41. And I immediately was like, is this legit? And I looked it up. It looks pretty good. So if
Elden
you're on the
Ring's
PC
out?
no, they're just pre-selling it on sale,
sure.
which is crazy.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes me think maybe it's not.
I know,
you
really. I was like, fry squinting
Sus,
meme,
bro.
right? This can't be
Yeah.
true. But yeah, but everything I saw, I'll have to do a deeper dive into it. But it's
Yeah.
called Fanatical. Look into it yourself.
Speaking of God of War, I'm going to play that tomorrow. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited for you.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Have
It's
yourself
gonna be
a
good.
good old time.
there's the
Yoda Josh is also excited.
yep.
I want to go back and touch on. So you were talking about PlayStation backwards compatibility, probably some emulation involved. I recently signed up for the Nintendo
AARP? What?
soon. I recently signed up for the Nintendo fucking
service.
online service, their emulation stuff, so you can go back and play any SNES and
God,
NES
it's a
titles and
service
stuff.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's $4 a month. I'm like, okay, that
own
means
a
it'll
Switch?
yeah.
Okay.
That means it'll be on my Switch.
The red flag should already be there anytime you're like Nintendo and internet get combined.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah.
So, all right. So I jump on these services and I'm like, God, that's got to be a lot of titles. It's not. It's like 30 SNES and like 42 NES
Shipped
titles.
to you by carrier pigeon.
And I'm like, okay, cool. But they don't have like Capcom titles. It's really only first party stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, there are good games, obviously.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, there's some gems in there.
any Mario game is a good game. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm playing some Super Mario World and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, they have Nintendo 64. I wonder how that plays on the Switch. I'm going to check that out. So I'm like, all right, I go to the N64. I've got to download another app because every console has its own fucking app on the Switch.
Okay, of course.
So I've got to
Okay.
download the N64 app. I launch it, and it tells me that I have to have the expansion pack for the fucking service.
Memory expansion pack for the
No, well, no.
Yeah.
But that's what they call their like Nintendo Switch Service Plus or whatever is the expansion pack.
Oh my
So you have to
God.
pay an additional like $7 a month to play the N64 games, of which I guess
Fuck.
there's like 17 titles.
I
So,
would have
like,
loved it
what
more
the
if you had to actually buy like an N64 expansion pack because like that
Yeah,
was
like
also
a
as useless
digital
for it. It's like-
memory pack.
Dude, I love the expansion pack. The expansion pack did nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
It did. So, as a kid, I think, it says that it's got an extra like 32 megabytes of RAM. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Great. That's why you got to have it to play certain games. You didn't. It literally just allowed you to play the games. The console itself could already play those fucking games natively.
The key is in.
If you ever
Perfect.
want to go down a loophole, look into the development of 64 and PlayStation titles
Yeah.
and see how many corners they had to cut and the sheer razor thin margins these developers got away with to put out these games that we think are amazing. Like the work that went into those to make them like viable and functional on the limited amount of capacity they had is mind blowing.
Well, dude, Majora's Mask was made in less than a year. It was like 9 months total development time.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, sure, they had a lot of the assets already made from Ocarina of Time, but it's lauded as one of the best Zelda games of all time, which is one of the best gaming franchises of all time. And here it was made in less than a year by like a small team driven by one dude that was like, I want to try a Zelda game.
a small team of Asians though.
True. That's like 600 Americans.
Dude, they have the most APM.
Well,
Asians per minute.
Yes, that is also
Japan has been in crunch since the 1940s. So
Yeah.
cranking
Yeah.
out those APMs.
Oh man. What's
Yeah.
the remember the game we used to play where you as a businessman,
Emotional damage.
you kill yourself? Hikaru Man. You remember the little flash game where you were the
Yeah.
overworked business Japanese
Yes.
man and the goal of every level was to find a way to kill yourself?
I don't remember.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Was that on the PlayStation News bit?
Yeah, PlayStation, that, and Tiny Tina, Fanatical, and then I guess I could lead into Final Fantasy 14, PlayStation. They're finally selling copies again after 6 weeks of halting sales because their servers were overloaded.
Yeah, Josh didn't quite understand when we were bringing up the topic earlier, like what that meant.
Yeah, no, I was kind of lost on that, and the simple fact they're like the wait times in these queues, we're just gonna stop selling the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, the
It's
fuck?
pronounced Queue.
Good.
Quewe?
Quiver.
Quewe.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of Japanese companies have a long precedence of a deep respect for their people who give them money. Like,
Yes.
It was Final Fantasy 11 or 14. They did this huge public apology for the delay, and they had cut their budget, and the president cut his salary or something because they were like a few months late on something.
Well, Final Fantasy 14, they killed it. The original version.
Yeah, the original game was
That's
like
when they just
not
deleted
up to
it
and
par.
pretended
They're
like-
we're going to rebuild the entire game because it's not what you wanted. It's not what we wanted.
Yeah,
so
this isn't
just
working out, guys.
hang
So,
tight.
Cataclysm happened.
God,
everyone
yeah.
dies.
The Final Fantasy Cataclysm.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Came to fruition,
Oh, man.
The chocobos are loose. Just
and they're breeding as chocobos do.
Well, dude, I didn't know that there was like a chocobo breeding function in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. I didn't know, but I figured that was a big popular thing.
Is that a role I can choose to play when I make
Chocobo
my first
breeder?
character? I can be a chocobo breeder.
Probably.
I used to have a shirt that said licensed chocobo inbreeder.
I remember that.
Yeah,
shirt.
it was a little
It had the little derpy chocobo.
derpy chocobo. Yeah.
Smartest thing Final Fantasy 14's done compared to the MMOs I've played is every like profession, smithing, jewelry, and every class, fighter, rogue, wizard, you can all have on one character.
Yeah.
At any time, you can just switch, and it just remembers what you have. Like, we never thought of that as being like an option in old days because it
Right.
wasn't. You had two professions in a class.
Yep.
Otherwise, you roll a new tune, right?
Yeah.
As far as I know, Amazon's Lost Ark is going to be is built the same way to where
Okay.
like you aren't locked into anything. You can literally pursue any path, any character class, and stuff that you want to do.
It's smart.
Yeah, I mean, I've constantly bitched many times about having to re-roll new characters. It's not something that I enjoy doing. I get attached to the character that I want to play, but I would like to experience the content that is available in the game without having to re-roll. Now, mostly those come down to me not wanting to fucking level that character back up and go through the.
You don't want to do the
campaigns.
grind?
Yeah.
See, personally, I loved creating alts. That's why I have like 74 of them.
Yeah.
You know, I like 20 something fucking max level alts. But, you know,
Some people like grind, some people don't.
I just never viewed, especially when they just dumbed down leveling to the point where I could level a tune to max in a day. I'd be like, all right, I got all the heirlooms and shit. Of course, that was from grinding like 40 hours on my main. But I got all the heirlooms and shit.
You're
and
able to
now-
grind easier because you grind harder earlier.
Yes. But on everybody
on
that
grind.
used that class of armor. So, hey, that means it's time to roll a warrior paladin and have them done in 2 days. But yeah, I mean, it fits my gameplay style.
Now, Lost Ark is coming out on the 11th of February. We're getting pretty close to that.
Was Lost Ark this Crane MMO we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this Desert Online too, or is this actually going to be good?
So the game's been out since 2018.
Oh, that's right. And it just hasn't hit.
And it's
the
been locked
North
to the
America
Korean
region
region.
locked, yeah.
So the game's tried and tested and stuff that it's a fully functional game. It doesn't seem like there's any like large glaring problems that I've encountered. And I read a pretty long, in-depth review.
Not a New World situation.
It's not going to be a New World situation.
Did you hear they added mutators?
Yes,
Dude, I mean,
I did, and I didn't give a shit.
At this point, I'm just God, they really missed the train. Like, that game could have been so good at launch, and we could have still been playing it because it was fantastic.
I don't give you guys any flack for picking it up. It was merely my old grognardiness that had me hesitant and the lack of available funds. I would have been right there with you guys.
Yeah,
Like, it looked like
was a
it might have
blast.
had a real
Yeah.
chance of being good, but it didn't.
So, like, we obviously had reservations going into the game. Anytime that you have PvP combat-centric MMOs, they tend to have problems. But the one that gave me the most hope that it was going to be pretty solid, and I was using it as kind of a pitching point to get us to play it, was the fact that the game had been like beta tested for like a year, and they pushed it back like 3 times to try to make things better. And I'm like, well, that seems to me like they're really investing and putting in the work to try to release a good game.
But what they were actually doing was they couldn't get their shit together, so they're like, this isn't working. We got to redo it.
Yeah, the moral of that is they took an extra year and still failed.
Yeah.
Giving a bunch of beta keys to Twitch streamers is not a beta test. It's PR.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had PTR realms and stuff like that.
They did.
They were pretty heavily testing.
Of course, they didn't have PTR realms once the game went fucking live. That's a new feature of it. Like, what the
They
fuck?
had to like bring them back.
Yeah, what MMO in this day and age doesn't have a goddamn PTR realm so you can test the incoming features? Why are also most of the features that they implement willy-nilly to fix the problems that they have, they don't put them on the PTR first. The PTR is there as like an extra fucking server.
I wonder if there's a curve you can draw through data of how much money a company has going into making an MMO and the chance of it succeeding. And it would be like a bathtub curve, right? If you have an indie company, like they might actually be able to make some kind of quasi MMO decent.
Yeah.
But then you get in the middle range, maybe it's a bit better. But then like you get Amazon money, it's like either a crapshoot. Otherwise it's gonna either completely flop because they just throw money at it, but that doesn't make a good game.
Yeah, they throw money in
Or
instead
they
of
have
talent
the money,
and fun.
yeah, or they have the money to hire good talent. And
Yeah.
they went the other way with it.
I'd be curious to know how many MMOs or like ongoing video games run a PTR realm consistently throughout the entire play cycle. Because, I mean, realistically, that is best for the game that you can constantly be testing live features on a PTR.
It's just a win-win. That way your regular users get to know what's upcoming and that it's already been tested.
Yeah.
And your tester players that want like the cutting edge stuff get a way to,
It's
have
also
input.
It's free advertising for your upcoming expansion or your upcoming dude, that's what got me hyped about every new patch from WoW is watching Bellular and Asmongold talk about the content in the PTR.
Now, we know Warcraft does a PTR.
Yeah.
Do you guys know for sure of any other games that do run like a consistent PTR realm? Or
I imagine a
don't.
lot of the standard or older MMOs probably had them, but I don't play them anymore. I don't.
That'd be an interesting question because you look at an Amazon company. I wonder if they looked at that and if it was in an industry. If it's an industry standard to do that, you'd think they'd be like, well, we have to do that as well. That's how a game survives. But if it ends up being fairly uncommon, they might have just thought like, WoW does it, but we don't need to.
Yeah.
You know?
WoW does a lot of things right, like having a PTR. Unfortunately, none of the content that goes on it is any good, but,
It's a different problem.
Different problem.
Yeah.
I was asking about the podcast being postponed tomorrow because I actually have back-to-back reveals for new games that come out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
First one's Apex Legends. We get the trailer and more of the details about Season 12 Defiance coming out.
Yay.
Defiance is on the 8th of February. We know we'll be getting Mad Maggie as a new legend. And going back to Olympus is one of the maps in rotation, which is cool. Olympus is a good map. But the two things, like obviously new legends always going to be fun. But what I am most hyped about is that they're going to introduce a new limited time mode called Control.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a 9v9 3-point not capture the flag, but King of the Hill control points. And it's like I have so many questions about this. It's going to be so bizarre just running like 3 squads and 3 squads. Arenas has been great.
Infinite respawns and loadouts.
Yeah.
Something I saw pointed out.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't really do a lot of loot goblining because in an arena you don't. So the way arena works is like a Counter-Strike where when you
Get
load in the
money,
match,
buy stuff.
you get money, buy stuff. We like Josh and I, now that he's playing on PC, we've been getting down on quite a bit of Apex.
Yeah.
And him and Justin, they do really solidly when we play arenas. And that's a big difference. They don't have to learn how the BR shit works. They don't have to learn extra knowledge like map rotations and constant vigilance. And, even Justin pointed out that it suffers from a problem. Like if you're used to constant action and you drop into a game of a BR and you spend 15 minutes just running around looting stuff, we've talked about it with Sabo when we're playing the game actively, is that you have no time to keep your reflexes and stuff and your attention focused. So a lot of times if you run into a squad, especially a squad that maybe dropped hot, which means they dropped into like a big group of people from the get-go, or have just finished up fighting another team, they're warm, they have good gear.
You're complacent.
And we're over here just fucking waking up from a nap to try to go into a fight. Yeah. And like Justin specifically was saying that like he stops being actively vigilant, and so when we get attacked, he's like unaware that we're being attacked until it's too late. Whereas with arenas, it's a 3v3.
You're going to see enemies in the first 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, it's just the game match starts, you go. And
running and gunning, it's good stuff.
Yeah. But we move into this control subject of this 9v9, how does voice communication work? Is it just literally 3 independent squads working against 3 other independent squads? Are they going to combine like voice channels? Is it only going to be through like pings that you can communicate with the other team? There's like a lot of unknowns here.
And that launches tomorrow?
The launch is tomorrow. The trailer to show more of the stuff.
Gotcha.
Now, admittedly, they don't typically show a great deal of gameplay footage during these release trailers. It's usually like fluff for the new character and show off new cosmetics and shit like that. But following that, leading up to the 8th is when we'll probably get more details about patch notes, which are somewhat relevant to the game and how the mechanics are going to work. So tomorrow is great. So Mad Maggie's the new character. She's pretty cool looking. They haven't told us yet what her ability suites are, but constantly you'll find if you look in the Apex news is that they're always deep digging inside the game files and stuff. And so they've had a running list of codenamed characters with possibility of abilities since the game launched. And a lot of those end up coming true. Like they'll probably change the name and they might kind of tweak and adjust what their abilities are. But most legends that have been announced have been foretold at least closely to what they end up being at launch.
Yeah, I saw a low poly Octane like months before he was announced.
Yeah. And so Mad Maggie is supposed to have like a shotgun mounted to her leg so that when you melee doors, it just blows the doors open.
That's fucking cool.
Dope. Yeah.
What was that grindhouse? So the
Yeah,
chick with the
yeah,
gun for
yeah,
legs?
yeah.
That's fantastic.
And it's a really useful ability too, because normally it's like it takes 2 melee hits to break a door down. So she'll just fucking blow them open.
Yeah, that's
Now,
pretty
if
sick.
only it also shot like
Well,
through the door, right?
if you could do some damage in
if
it.
you could
Yeah,
do
even
a
if it
little
was
bit
just
of
a little damage,
and
yeah.
blow up the door in one kick.
It might if you're standing behind the door. Who knows?
What a
Good.
unique design space. We
Dude,
put guns on our legs to fuck up doors.
Or, people block doors so you can't get in.
Yeah,
So
that's
if-
what I'm saying.
So if
yeah.
it didn't, like, if the shotgun blast itself didn't do damage, if the door's wild swinging did and,
Just
like,
did, like a 1
vaulted
second
players.
stun or half
Yeah.
second
That'd be
stun. Or,
neat.
yeah, knocked them back.
Yeah, yeah.
So grenades can essentially do damage through the door because they blow the door up and then they do like some residual damage to you. You're not
Yeah.
going to take full grenade damage, but they will mess you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I imagine they can easily. I would not be surprised if you do take some damage from her fucking shotgunning doors open.
So,
Pretty cool.
She gets a flashbang, which there's no real like flashbangs in Apex already, so her tactical is like a little flashbang device. Supposedly, remember this is rumored.
Yeah.
And then her ultimate is supposed to be a breach charge, but the breach charge will fire like a shockwave through like in a small area out, which will destroy traps, which is caustic barrels, Watson fences.
But it's not going to break walls.
It doesn't
right?
break walls.
'Cause
It'll break the door like a grenade
Okay,
would,
yeah,
or
but like
her shotgun.
the
might.
game engine doesn't have the code for like destroying
no,
buildings,
no.
but yeah, that's still pretty cool.
But yeah, for us, even Justin and Josh playing and stuff, you can really get held back if you don't know how to handle somebody that's loaded up an area in caustic barrels or Watson fences and stuff like that.
There's a really fine balance between defensive and offensive characters in hero shooters. Like you have to make sure that the defensive characters aren't too annoying and the defensive characters don't just wipe the floor with the defensive ones. And was their last character defensive in play?
The last character was Fuse, right?
That's Ash.
Oh, Ash. No, she's highly offensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a short range teleport, throws a...
Does she have counters to people's defenses?
You could kind of say that a teleport is.
It's
So
just
if
a
you
way
put
to
up-
get around it.
Yeah, because theoretically, if you put up like Watson fences and stuff, you could just portal
Yeah.
past that kind of shit.
Interesting.
But you are actually right. Like Watson, the one that makes the electric fences, she's undergone like a couple tweaks here and there, they're trying to find a balance to where putting up literally walls of electricity aren't either overpowered or underpowered.
It's easy to paint yourself into a corner when your design space is so low. Like you only have so many like levers to pull. So
I remember when they first released her, she has her ultimate's this pylon that you put down on the ground, and it's like an anti-ordnance pylon. So if any other ultimates are raining down or grenades get thrown in, it just zaps them.
Yeah.
But initially, like it would also zap yours when you were trying to throw them out of the radius of the pylon, which wasn't intended, but it was pretty amusing. So, Mad Maggie, we'll see her tomorrow.
well, segue into Respawn.
hold on to that. We got to go to break.
Oh yeah, it's break time.
It is break time,
Time is flying with wings.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll be right back, guys.
Be back.
Joshua,
I didn't say anything.
you made mouth noises. You did that on purpose. You looked into the camera.
I did not.
He's
So-
got the one eyebrow raised. We can read you like a fucking book, Josh. We've known you 40,000 years.
Why would you bring up reading books at this point?
Because you can't read and it's funny, asshole.
I can't. Okay, just for the record, I can fucking read, just not well. Okay, Jesus. No.
Okay. You guys were talking about grenades earlier and grenade efficacy.
Nope.
Yes. And,
I wasn't.
well, it happened.
Okay.
So I was playing DayZ the other day. I'm playing on a really populated server.
It's the longest noise floor I've ever had.
I have just a little pistol. I'm freezing to death. And I have a grenade and a shirt. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a kill before I die. So I drop my grenade. So if you damage a grenade, you can shoot it and it'll explode. So I damage the grenade by hitting it against the wall for a second. I drop it right in front of a barracks. And then I took my shirt off and put my shirt on top of it so nobody can see the grenade sitting there. Turns out that a shirt can shield you from a fucking grenade, because that happened. I shot it. It definitely exploded. The guy took no damage. Turns out that you have to have line of sight to a grenade for it to do damage to you in the engine. So
fantastic.
Yeah, dude, I wish I had been recording that. Like I went back and tried to get like a NVIDIA game capture of it, because it'll go back a few seconds. I tried so hard. But unfortunately,
clever.
I didn't get it. Yeah.
Just carry around a rag on you and throw it on a grenade a player throws.
Yeah, I saw a streamer do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like ready to try it out. Anyways, that's my little tangent.
Not bad. We were talking about Respawn before break because of Apex Legends.
Yes. We haven't brought up the Star Wars games yet.
Have at it.
Always floor it.
What?
We're in.
We're back.
We're already back, bro.
We're back.
Was this whole grenade thing?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Noise floor accomplished.
I was like, this is the longest noise floor I've ever been a part of.
I thought you were just kidding.
Yeah, so did I. I was like,
We beat the
okay,
boss. We're on to the next level.
Over here burping in the fucking microphone. Yes, Respawn Entertainment, also known as Jesus Inc., is making 2 games and overseeing a third in the Star Wars universe of games. Jedi Fallen Order 2, an FPS directed by Peter Hirschman of Lego Star Wars, Battlefront, Force Unleashed fame. And finally, the third game is being developed by BitReactor, overseen by Respawn. BitReactor are the people who make the XCOM games. So
Real quick, Fallen Order, the first one, wasn't made by Respawn, was it?
I don't know if we ever confirmed that. I will look
wasn't.
that up.
Okay.
Right
I didn't
now.
think it had been.
I think the guy who's the head of the team now was still involved with it, because they were saying
Was involved.
It was developed by Respawn.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
so I think the same dev team is on it.
I mean, honestly, we probably knew that at the time the game was coming out, because
Yeah.
it would have been fairly relevant, especially considering Titanfall and Apex is in regular rotation as talked about things.
Yeah.
So more games. I'm interested to see another first-person Star Wars game. It's been a while.
It has been a minute. I feel like Clone Commandos.
Republic or it's for like the GameCube around that
Yeah,
era.
Republic Commandos was like the last FPS that I can think of set in the Star Wars.
The
Wars
only
verse.
game I remember that was like had to deal with like clone troopers was that really awful squad based one.
Yeah, it's the Clone Commandos.
Oh,
game.
that game was trash.
I liked it, but neither here nor there. There's a million Star Wars games.
I feel like also I'm having vague recollections that game was made by the same people that made U.S. Army or
America's Army.
America's Army. But I like this. We're talking like over a decade ago.
Yeah, this was in
Probably way off
the
base.
because I think John had it on the GameCube, or maybe I did. I don't
Speaking
remember.
of being off base,
2005.
I will say a retraction that apparently I missed in the emergency episode or messed up. I did claim that Microsoft now owned Sekiro, and I assumed that because they published Sekiro, but From Software, the development company, retained the IP to Sekiro, so Microsoft does not own Sekiro, just to make Colin happy.
And we have integrity on this podcast.
We do, and yeah, if
Integrity.
we're wrong, I would like to
bro.
correct ourselves.
I get off on being wrong. Physically erect from my falsitude. That's big news. It's exciting mostly because we're seeing a branching out from the Star Wars royalty in television and film, right? We're getting Boba Fett, the series. We're getting The Mandalorian. The fucking pros are finally realizing that Star Wars is an entire universe and doesn't have to all be about the goddamn fucking Skywalkers, right? Like, do something else. There's plenty of content out there. I don't have any info. I don't think there is any on what these games entail, but we could see them hopefully taking place in something that isn't the shit we've already retread a million times. So
I mean, we can speculate a little bit what a Fallen Order game would look like.
Sure.
Because,
Especially
I
if
mean,
it's the same company.
It's
Yeah,
the
I
same,
must have meant the
same
other two,
dev
but
team.
go
Like, I
ahead.
mean, but the other two, an FPS in the Star Wars universe seems fun, especially considering the kick-ass fucking first-person shooter games that this company makes.
Yeah.
So that seems like it could be really cool. And XCOM is a brilliant game. It holds up after all these years. So I'd be excited to play something like that, and also set in the Star Wars universe. So full steam ahead.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in the stuff that Respawn releases. As much as I gripe about maybe their microtransaction schemes, Titanfall 2 storyline was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got around playing it kind of late, and it's a short game, but it felt like if I was going to use that as a litmus test for them making other first-person shooters, they're doing fantastic.
It really goes to show that they can put a lot of personality and heart into a shooter.
Yeah. Which is, we wouldn't have really assumed that considering their first big launch was the first Titanfall game, which didn't even have a single-player mode, and the campaign was lost in the fact that you're playing a multiplayer shooter. It's like it was there apparently in some aspect, but I didn't know it. I enjoyed Fallen Order. Josh enjoyed Fallen Order.
I did.
My only main complaint about Fallen Order is that I just don't really connect or enjoy the main character, but that's it's not their fault that I don't like that. He's just not as cool as I wanted him to be. And that doesn't mean he's not cool. It's just, I don't know.
Honestly, my grief with the game is in a similar vein, but I don't like the actor that they got to play the guy. That's purely why I'm like, this character Cal Kestis, meh.
Well, he probably looks similar, right? Because
they did the mocap for him. So it's that actor that I just don't like him.
I get vibes of like the redheaded shitty bully.
That's
like when I look at him, and
I do too.
I don't like that. That's literally what it is about that
the
character.
stereotypical 90s 90s movie redheaded bully. Yeah.
Josh is biased against.
You get Farkas vibes.
Fark.
Right? That's the kid's name from
I think so,
Christmas Story, right?
Yes.
Gives fucking Farkas vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't like. But in that very same vein, I'm like, man, if they had just got a different actor to mocap this, I'd be.
His name is Scut Farkas.
Yeah.
SCUT.
Wow.
That's who
sorry,
the main
interrupted
character is
you,
of
but-
Fallen Jedi Order.
Yeah. I have realized that part of it is that I'm now almost halfway to 40, but first the dude is putting YouTube on your TV, and now he's knocking shit over in your kitchen.
We got ghosts.
He won't
We got ghosts.
we won't let him watch his fucking sports.
Yeah, dude. So
pissed.
did we actually say on the podcast what was
I
happening?
think before the break we
yeah.
mentioned that our TV was getting like Roku'd by a neighbor trying to watch YouTube baseball or something.
Yeah, I mentioned it during the recording for sure.
That he was trying to watch like sports highlights.
I don't know if we said. I think we maybe mentioned that it popped back up. And he
Yeah.
was trying to watch sports, but we did confirm it because it said John.
Sure
trying to
did.
connect to
Yeah.
your TV, and that's our neighbor. He's
That's our neighbor.
75 years old.
Whether it's because I'm old or I've seen it too many times, the hero's journey arc of a new character in a universe that's set going over and over, like it really needs to be something novel for me to enjoy it anymore. Plus, the majority of the gameplay footage I've seen from Fallen Order was from Donkey, who just totally shit on the game. Like, I know it got pretty good reviews, but like the original Force Unleashed, I felt was like a great blockbuster until I played it for all of 3 hours.
Yeah.
I got to like level 3. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. And having not played Fallen Order, that was the vibe I was getting from it. Was this is this generation's Force Unleashed? But
Definitely
it looked
different
like
vibes.
It was better.
It was not
Yeah.
like a Force Unleashed at all.
Okay,
Because Force Unleashed was definitely more about like just
fighty.
Yeah, run
punchy
through these
shoot.
levels and blast stormtroopers.
So
around.
like it has a bit of a
Don't say it. Okay, keep going, but I don't want
Yep.
you to say it.
He's gonna say
He's going to say it, but
He's gonna say it.
a platform.
it's a Strand type
Go,
game.
just-
like an Uncharted, and like that's kind of where its inspirations come from. Is like an Uncharted, Tomb Raider-y kind of style with a Star Wars skin over the top of it.
that is more appropriate. I thought you were going to say it was a fucking Dark Souls style game. That's what I thought you, because that's how they every review for that game
Because the fucking
Yeah, it
things
says it's
come
a
back
Souls-like.
and
that's literally it. Like, but every
Okay,
review when
whatever.
that game came out
has,
called it a
like,
Dark Souls.
It's definitely like
at all.
an adventure game. Like I would say it's
Tomb Raider was perfect. Like
Yeah,
it
like
gives
it's,
me
like
OG
there's-
Tomb Raider vibes.
Yeah, there's some light grade fucking puzzles. You got to do some jump things. And there's a wonderful Star Wars story in the fucking background of it. It's fun. It's fun.
If it had been more Dark Souls light in reality, I would have probably enjoyed it less. But having a restarted level when you die, I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, the fucking guys are back.
Yeah, you fight stormtroopers mostly, so fuck those guys. They're cakewalk.
Before we change subjects, has anybody here played the XCOM games, the newer ones?
I dabbled with XCOM 2 a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say I've played XCOM 2 a bit. I've watched Mike play XCOM 2 a lot. Okay. So
I've played every XCOM game. I love them, and I could see some really cool shit coming out of a game that fits that niche in between like full-blown RTS and micro scale like Fallen Order, like the ability to run like a rebel base during their Imperial attack. You're having to manage supply lines as well as being on the battlefield with squadrons of troops, or like mercenaries or being Imperials. Like there's so much room to play, and I was just really excited and honestly surprised to see them announcing the developer of the XCOM games, because those turn-based strategy games, they're extremely fucking niche. So I'm really excited about that. Didn't want to touch on, because we brought it up, it's not super big. Someone in Elden Ring development came out and said that it was going to be about 30 hours, which after a cursory 10-minute search on Google, most of the Dark Souls games, it seems to average between 35 to 45 hours for people. So it's right there in that range, meaning that, you could get done in 20. Most Dark Souls games that I played, I took about twice as long as the predicted time to play, between sucking and going more than just doing the main storyline.
Sure.
So 40 to 60 hours. I imagine for most people it's going to be pretty good for Elden Ring.
That's a fantastic amount,
which
especially
is way more than you want, because a lot of that time is spent
dying.
Yeah, being unalived.
I saw a clip really cool. I think it was from Elden Ring, to where like, and that one, when you get hit or like die, you like knocks like a weird white-bodied version of you out of your body.
Oh, kind of like
I think that was
Marvel.
from Elden Ring. I could have been looking at something else. I honestly don't know. But good segue, because there's other news. Did you guys hear about the RCE exploit in Dark Souls servers?
Yeah. No.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So there's a it's remote code execution, which is one of the bigger problems that we have in cybersecurity right now, where people are able to exploit some sort of command function on your computer and gain remote access to your PC. Apparently, that exists within Dark Souls 3. Or is that a thing, Dark Souls 3?
I think it was one of the ones they recently re-released or something.
Yeah, but they're not sure. They weren't sure if it existed in all of them yet.
So essentially, you can invade somebody, right, and then execute code on their computer.
And gain control of functions on their computer. And what's really neat about that is how it was really brought to light, is that they had there's a Twitch user that was like playing. It's the Grim Sleeper was streaming on Twitch. And then another user called Speed Souls did that into his game, and like after it, he brought up like the Microsoft speech to text to speech stuff, and was like telling him, critiquing his gameplay. And it's an example of like, he wasn't doing that to exploit it, but he'd already submitted multiple times to the company for Dark Souls that this existed, and they kept ignoring him and stuff. So he just started jumping onto Twitch streamers that were streaming the game to exploit this, to try to draw attention to it. And they shut the servers down. They once it was brought to light, they all right, we got to fix this, shut them down.
Now that it might affect our budget, we were going to shut the servers down.
Well, if it's server side too for these games, then it would be subject to it being a problem in Elden Ring as well.
Yes.
So they absolutely can't have that coming out. So
same framework and code.
Pretty interesting. Thought it was pretty cool. Yep. RCE exploits, fun stuff.
Yep.
That's what I need, is somebody getting a hold of my computer, because I'm playing a video game.
Right. Going to rickroll you while they kill you with their Dex build.
So in the last 2 years, we've had a game that may brick your $2,000 graphics card, or may give you remote access to your computer. So
it's perfect.
Good thing we have DRM though, right?
I mean, there was also Batman. I think it was Arkham Asylum.
He came to your house.
They could just delete your fucking Windows 32 folder. So
that
was super cool. Yeah, I mean, they patched that really quickly. I think that was a day one issue.
Files going.
But yeah, they fixed it down to where it would only just delete your game saves and your game files.
I don't remember if I told you this, but I'm on the Android gaming subreddits and I follow them a lot. And this guy released a game that was so poorly coded that it exposed new vulnerabilities they didn't know was in the Google Play market, and they had to patch it because of his game.
Man.
It's like, wow, that's fucking impressive. And for, let's see, Josh, Justin, and I play Stellaris. So for the other 6 Stellaris players, they are overhauling the Unity and Influence system. The beta is up and available on Steam if you want to try it. Yeah, it's a custodian team. They're trying to get the game to a good state before the next whatever. We'll see.
Yep.
You know, things in bad state reminds me of the news that Mortal Kombat sequel's being made.
Oh, sick.
You got to watch that on stream with our waxed legs.
Oh, dude, I would love to watch that on stream.
I feel like, did we discuss on the pod after we had watched? Because I know it was on my list to go watch it and then talk about it, and I probably bitched about it because it was fucking
Talked
garbage.
about
I felt like it was.
we definitely talked about it.
A whole month of talking about Mortal Kombat.
It was, yeah. It came up in like 3 or 4 podcasts. Yeah,
Fair enough.
And you did give your critiques on it.
Scathing review.
Yeah. You honestly, I think you liked it more than I thought you would.
There are scenes that are good in the movie, and I will
think
give credit where credit's due.
I think I disliked it more than you did.
The thing that I hate the most is like, and I don't want to rehash stuff that we talked about before, but like if you can have good scenes and cheesy scenes in an action movie, that's fine. But
Great.
it's like the core of your storyline just like falls apart because nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not hard to make a coherent Mortal Kombat story.
Yeah.
What I loved about seeing the article about the sequel being made is that they were talking about like the director from Moon Knight's going to be running it. And I'm like, is that relevant? That show literally hasn't even come out yet. And you're
Yeah.
like, but this guy made it. Like, what if Moon Knight fucking blows? Like, that's a terrible way to tag your directorial debut for sequel Mortal Kombat. Is the guy that made a thing you haven't seen.
They know people are going to forget, right? You know, people just don't have the memory anymore. They're like, oh, Moon Knight. I know Moon Knight. It's going to be good.
I actually hope Moon Knight is good, but it won't be.
Everything's good.
It won't be. It's fucking gonna get Disney World.
Yeah.
It's like
dude, okay, I'm telling you.
You're gonna spoil stuff on the stream. You can't do that. That's
I'm not going
good.
to spoil stuff on the stream, but oh man, today's episode.
You can't.
It's a good one.
You're already spoiling things.
I will keep watching Boba Fett, but there's no way they're recovering from episode 3. There's no way.
No, it's
written it off.
No, it's a done deal. But it's definitely the best.
You're dead to me.
Yeah.
Best episode of the season.
My dad laughed when I told him, it's like, it's Star Wars, so I got to watch it. I'm like, it's like, yeah, I go. It's got to. Got to. Another weird one? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, honestly, dude, that the space scooters was...
Space Fagios.
The Space Fagios.
Void Vespas?
The Void
Vespas. I like that.
Honestly, it made me doubt
Did you
all
see
other further Star Wars properties that they're going to bring out.
I gotta watch this.
It was a whole oh my god, dude.
I loved.
I was like,
Penny Arcade did a comic about it specifically.
Ooh, okay.
Like we found that later on. I also want to mention that like I think last week or the week before they also directly referenced cloacas. So we're on the same wavelength as fucking Taicho and Gabe from Penny Arcade.
That is a good wavelength.
But one of the best you can be on, right?
Absolutely.
it was bad. It was bad.
I'm gonna non-segue into the next topic just because
Goats my goats.
we could kill another several hours talking about shitty Star Wars and good Star Wars.
Yep,
but,
absolutely.
You know a name you probably didn't expect to hear anytime soon? Crysis.
Oh yeah.
They're coming out with a new
Crytek's
Crysis
making
game.
a new Crysis game.
I'm not
Gonna be in
surprised. I mean,
7D.
how long has it been since Crisis 3 came out? Probably like 2018.
No,
had to have been.
What? Oh, I didn't even know there was a Crysis 3. To be fair, I thought Crysis was just the 2004
Oh my God.
Crysis, and
2014
20 2013.
Yep.
On your birthday, oddly enough.
Oh, how about that? My birthdays
Sweet
are always
Lord,
birthdays.
dude, that game, the fucking visuals on the I didn't think. Wow. Okay, so 2013 for a game that looks that fucking good to this day. Holy shit.
Hence the can it run Crysis meme.
No, the thing is it was like super well optimized and like people were playing it at like full tilt back then. So like that's really surprising because those as far as graphic fidelity goes, it holds the fuck up.
Too bad it's a bad game. Now, I didn't realize
It was better than the first Crysis.
Yeah, okay, well, I didn't realize that Crytek company that makes Crysis are the ones that are responsible for Hunt Showdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's a pretty popular game.
It's one I really wanted to try. I never got the opportunity.
Yeah,
to.
it's not like crazy popular, but you can definitely watch Twitch streamers that are playing it. I've done a few views myself just to kind of see what the game was about. And it's kind of a neat, like, I wouldn't want to call it BR, but you definitely drop into a map with like a few other opposing players, but you also have to deal with
What's
fighting.
the horror slasher video game? Dying Light?
Yeah.
Well, there's Dying Light,
The
but you're
one where
thinking
you play
of
as the villain, and then you have to like fuel the generators.
you're
and
thinking
shit.
of
Oh, yeah, they have like the Jason.
Naughty Night. You play it. I can't remember the name of the damn game.
Anyways, Hunt Showdown's kind of like a little bit of that plus a little bit of BR, where like there are monsters and zombies, but you're also like weird stalker.
Dead by Daylight. Thank you.
Dead by Daylight is kind of what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Now the Hunt Showdown stuff was kind of interesting because all your weapons are like somewhat archaic forms of pistols and stuff like that. So like you got to go out and it's a first person shooter against other players and monsters, but you have like a fucking flintlock pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a neat one. I still haven't gotten to try it. I think the next one up on my list to really see if I can dive into is going to be Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov.
It's going to suck you in.
Yeah, I do.
Either you're going to bounce off it hard or it's going to suck you
That's
in.
what I figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Either
so tempted.
bounce or sink it in.
My brother's been fucking zombie bites deep into Project Zomboid.
Yeah, I saw
I'm gonna
that.
Pick that up on my birthday, hopefully, and he's gonna get it for me so I can start playing with him. Excited.
Yeah.
More inventory management.
Yes.
I
My
watched
bread and butter.
I watched a little bit of Dr. Disrespect playing it because he's just kind of dipping his toe in that as well.
Doesn't seem like his game at all.
Yeah, I don't understand. I imagine he's just really
Following
wanting to.
trends.
Yeah, he wants to probably branch out from the Call of Duty franchise, but its action is substantially lower energy than
Oh yeah.
like every other first-person shooter.
Oh yeah. No, you can't play like Dr. Disrespect plays in fucking Tarkov.
No.
I want to see him play Fall Guys.
He probably has.
Tarkov always I look at it and it just gives me energy vibes like we used to play America's Army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real slow, real tactical. Or playing even a Call of Duty game on hardcore was
Yeah.
way more slow paced and tactical than before.
I lost a chunk of my life to hardcore Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That was my peak of first-person shooters.
It was
Yeah.
a blast. I would still love to play that same game type.
Yeah.
Well,
Not me. I like to get out there and get guns ablazing. I like shields and I like to spray and pray.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Have you played? Have you played a Tarkov like?
no. I mean, just Daisy.
Josh
Yeah.
needs some more time under his belt before he can get his precision aiming down.
Yeah,
I think it's a big thing. And those games
little-
it's like
require
learning
you
to ride a bike.
like
rough.
snapshots. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I am confident I could play and not shoot Andy. Probably.
I mean,
and Tarkov?
No. I mean,
And-
maybe.
I don't believe that you can do that in any game.
I mean, that's kind of,
Where'd your head come from?
Andy and I literally had played for a few weeks on the same characters, like without firing a single gunshot, except for like that time we saw the bear.
Yeah.
And then Josh joined us, and within like 20 minutes. he was
I handed him a gun and he's like, bang, bang.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was not great.
It was incredible. Yeah.
To this day, my favorite part is of that game is, Josh, your hands are dirty. Stop putting medicine
Oh my
in
god,
mouth."
dude! You fucking killed me. You fucking killed me.
force feeding Andy medicine with this dirty fucking zombie.
Oh my
hands.
god, he's got blood all over his hands and he's fucking force feeding
What
me
does
pills.
this button do?
The
Oh my
fucking
God.
trained EMT.
Yeah.
These fucking hepatitis alphabet fingers over here.
Oh man, it was. God, I had a lot of fun playing that game. Let me tell you.
Daisy is awesome.
It's awesome
For
to watch
some
if you
people.
have someone like Josh playing, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, Nick had
becomes
a lot of fun.
comedy.
Nick had
Oh, it was
lot
a
of-
blast.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I put everything down when Sarah Moore starts playing. He's a Twitch streamer
Daisy
that plays
streamer,
Daisy almost exclusively. And yeah, I'll be in the middle of a gripping TV show or a movie or something. The moment he goes live, that is what I'm watching. Because every time that dude plays, every life that he does is like a movie unto itself.
Is that the dude that pretended to be
Yes.
in the group? Okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty. He's an interesting watch.
He is so fucking funny, but he's also just crazy good at the game, right? So I mean, you get the dichotomy of like he has really funny or really cool player interactions, and it's awesome. But yeah, that Sarah Moore's like crack for me.
Before I'm completely out of juice, I do want to give a quick shout out to the game Vampire Survivors.
Heck yeah.
Russ and I have played it. It is $3. It's a Smash TV clone.
$3.
It's fantastic.
I should probably give it a shot.
Even if you get an hour of gameplay out of it, it's $3 an hour.
I already know that Andy's not going to enjoy it all that much because he's going to be like, why am I not playing Risk of Rain?
Oh well,
Like
That might be
I
a
guarantee
thing.
it. Like I imagine Risk of Rain from what you've described, and I have not played it. It's like a more robust and fun version of that.
Well, but that does. I mean, I can play games that are similar and still enjoy, other those other titles.
But you're like, if you start enjoying that, you'd be like, I could also be enjoying Risk of Rain more.
I don't know. It's a new one though.
Vampire
new to me.
Survivors, it's decently well made. It's decently tight. It's extremely low on content unless you're like trying to just like get all the achievements. So yeah, 3 to 10
For $3,
hours
it's hard to go
almost.
wrong,
Yeah, that's the thing.
you
It's
know.
like at the end of the day, it's a decently well made.
Yeah.
I do feel like
arena
Andy's
shooter.
life is very much ruled by this concept of like, I'm going to do this thing, but it reminds me of these other things that I really like.
Yes.
And then you just go back to like, oh, that reminded me of The Office. I got to
Yeah.
go watch The Office. So that reminded me of Stardew Valley. I got to go play more Stardew.
You described my entire life.
Yes.
That's exactly what happens. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you play Vampire Survivors, let me know how quickly you go to
How
play
quickly-
Risk of Rain.
Sure.
Well, somebody talked about Timothy Oliphant. Got to go watch.
Gotta-
No, that's-
Got to watch
Honestly,
Justified.
if I think about it and be honest, I'm identical to Andy, except, this reminds me of X. Therefore, I'm done playing it.
yeah, right.
I've already done this.
I've played this
Close
game.
the game.
Well, I mean, earlier this podcast, you're like, I'm over the hero's journey story. And I'm like, you can fucking water down any story at the end of the day. It ends up being that same.
Yep.
So Nick's just overall stories.
I'm over 90% of all stories.
fucking done.
I have expended all of my daily charges. I am out of news.
So a couple things I wanted to talk about real quick. Well, Splitgate, specifically, like I'm looking at you, Josh. You seem to play the most Splitgate.
Oh, yeah. the
I
Forge?
used to play. I was playing it there for a minute, but Apex has become my new
Got
new
hooked.
my new lady of the evening. So,
Sure.
but I mean, I'm always down for Splitgate news.
New content.
New content
Potentially,
That's always nice.
right? So season 1 is confirmed during the beta. So there's going to be a season of content. And then it looks like they're going to be coming out with a map editor like Forge was in Halo.
Okay, I'm not surprised. They're literally
awesome.
They're literally just trying to clone and slightly improve Halo. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if they can do it before Halo releases it, right?
It seems like they're doing a pretty fucking upstanding job of it. And then you guys have been playing Twilight Imperium on Tabletop
Oh my
Simulator.
god, dude, that has been a blast.
Yeah, tell me
An
about it.
absolute blast. So the best thing is like we spent the first time we unboxed the new version, right? I mean, you fucking spent an hour and a half at least fucking popping little fucking things out, getting them all into
yeah.
fucking piles.
Oh, on the table.
On the table,
Yeah.
right?
version, yeah.
So we
Real
go to,
quick, for the audience, Twilight Imperium is arguably the largest board game in existence. Just throwing that out there.
I feel like
Guess I didn't
Arkham
know.
will give a fucking run for its money.
Yeah.
It's up there.
But it literally takes, even if you have all the pieces popped out, an hour and a half to set up to play in person, not to mention convincing people to even fucking show up. You click a button, and all the fucking shit flies out from from Magic and lands on your fucking home square. It's fucking, oh my god,
Tabletop
dude.
Simulator.
It is amazing on Tabletop Simulator. They have a combat roller where you just click up what pieces you got. You got a destroyer, you got a couple of dreadnoughts, you're just clicking that up, and then it rolls the dice for you, monitors the hits, everything's said right there, so it's black
Yeah, I would
and
say
white,
so. If
plain-
you take a board game with
my
6
God.
players, can take you easily 12 hours to play through. And that's not, I mean, that's not counting setup or anything like that. It's just, it's a
But
very
it's not
in-depth
an
game.
exaggeration either.
It's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And the game with the expansion can now go up to 8 players, which means you can add easily an extra 2 to 3 hours to that gameplay. But the tabletop simulator version of Twilight Imperium is entirely community built. Like, that's what's crazy. It's like, this is not a product that you buy. It's free. There's a whole Discord channel that you can, like, we've had multiple times now where, like, we have a rules question. So I'll just pop into the TI tabletop Discord, and I'll have a response within a minute from somebody in the community. It's like, no, this is how it works. This is the way it is.
Just fantastic.
And they have the expansion contents already in the game. And so we've had 2 full, what I would consider full play sessions in 2 separate games that we've played. And there's not a moment that probably goes through that game that something doesn't surprise us that has been automated or streamlined. and it's a fantastic feeling. You're like, well, okay, we have this. Well, what is this thing over here doing? You're like, oh, it's doing all of these calculations for us. That's fucking fantastic. Very, very impressed by something that is a real life game translated into a digital version just by a community that runs and operates so well. We've had I don't think we've had really any problems with it so far.
I'm astounded with how smooth it's running. It's been a blast every time we play. It's been really easy, and we're and like the coolest thing is we're playing with one of your buddies who lives across the country. We're playing a board game with a guy who lives across the country.
So, shout out to Darth Batman and Raptor 1210 amongst many others for creating Twilight Imperium for TTS.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great community in the Discord and stuff. So
I had a really nice poop today. If we're at that point of the news segment.
No, I still got more.
Okay.
So this is pretty fantastic news, I think, for the group of us really shit on fucking NFTs, and we don't really enjoy NFTs.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed. Like, someone brought this up on fucking Twitter, that fungible has no relation to the word fungus. Like, it's something that can't be mushroomed. It would have been a perfect fucking word.
I thought we looked up fungible at one point. It does have a connotation to like not being like duplicating, which is fungus related.
It's a law term.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't know where I read that.
It's used in mushroom law.
But I think it was like one of the recent game development studios that they had, not like this, like a studio, but like a conference. They surveyed 2,700 game developers with a few questions, and one of them was like, what is your interest in introducing NFTs into your game? And of the 2,700 game developers asked, 70% not interested.
Thank God.
Yeah. 21% were like slightly interested. 7% were extremely interested.
It was EA.
So fuck those guys.
Yeah.
And then 1% of those people were already implementing.
Actually, that's EA.
But they also had a nearly identical response to using cryptocurrencies as any form of payment in their games. It was like 72% were like not interested. Around that 20% were like slightly interested. And I love that because the buzz for like the last several months and stuff has been like, oh, we're starting to see NFTs
in gaming.
fucking gaming. And no, just fucking stop it.
I feel like that's one con man telling another con man to get the fuck off my grift, son. Get the fuck off of it. Yo,
Meanwhile,
we release this shit piecemeal now? You get out of here. No.
Meanwhile, the CEO of YouTube has said that NFTs present a previously unimaginable opportunity to grow the connection between creators and their fans.
Nope.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Money.
That's where your brain critical thinks and says, yeah, this is a way for them to try to scam a bunch of money off people that don't know what the fuck.
You want to
To
go full
expand
Mr.
the
Krabs
YouTube
on it.
ecosystem. Like, if we're gonna get our Cyberpunk, can I at least have the fun parts too?
You may not.
Can I get the trench coats and the pink mohawks?
You may not.
And please.
Unfortunately, we're going to get the Cyberpunk 2022 version or 2044 version, and it's full of bugs.
No
Nothing fucking
Cyberpunk.
wrong,
This is
right?
Only capitalism dystopia.
half-baked version of capitalism, right?
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I if we want to wrap it up, we can. We talked about Vampire Slayers and tabletop. The only other game I've been playing recently, real quick, was Undungeon. I've just barely touched on it for playtime wise, but I thought it was pretty neat. It came out just last year in November, but it's like a pixel-based RPG game that was kickstarted actually, and it's free to play on the Xbox Game Pass stuff, the Microsoft Game Pass. My initial impressions is it seems like the art's really great. It's all pixel art and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting story that they're doing. I could tell already that the depth and complexity of what you can do with your character and leveling up is huge, like almost intimidatingly so.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be a detriment to the playing or if it will only add to it, or if do I have to pay attention to it, or can I kind of gloss over it to enjoy the game? I will report back to you next week.
Appreciate it. Do you know who makes it?
Yes, Tiny Build.
Okay. That's the publisher. Developers Laughing Machines.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into that.
And that's the whole. I could talk about Path of Exile, but fuck, I'm like one of 20 people that know that game exists. So.
Yeah, well, not quite true, but
No, I know.
Ratios.
We will be seeing the next league start February 4th for that, and I'm somewhat excited. But like, I also we're going to jump into Lost Ark. Like, at least I am. I'm definitely going to try out Lost Ark.
I'm excited.
I'm probably going to give it a go.
When's it come out?
Lost Ark is on
February 11th?
The 11th. So I'll get my first week of PoE in probably before I abandon it completely to try Lost Ark.
Yeah.
So
I will see if that'll run.
I would say the
Oh, it
last
will.
thing we should probably touch on is the Steam Deck being. Did we talk about that one already?
Nope.
Oh, yeah,
No,
it's
okay,
coming
yeah.
out 28th, 25th, somewhere around there.
The 25th.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it
Yep.
starts shipping on the 28th or something like that.
Reservation orders, email orders will be going out on the 25th, and they'll be ready to ship on the 28th. So, I mean, start throwing in them resis if you want one. It's only going to take 3 years.
Yeah, if you want one in 2024.
wow,
Yeah. Well, I think that's it, gentlemen.
that's it.
Good night, bon voyage, Auf Wiedersehen,
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Transylvania.
Touch it. It's real.
Always do it for God.